Hello and welcome to Perspective. I am Jawad Tehami. Despite many challenges over the last 4 years, such as volatile security situation, COVID-19 pandemic and slow-paced economy, Pakistan is about to complete fencing along the Pak-Afghan border known as the Durand Line. This border is 2,640 kilometers long, and fencing along this rugged terrain amid a hostile environment came with a price for Pakistan. This daunting task, besides a financial expense, accrued loss of precious lives on Pakistan's side as the fencing parties were fired upon from the Afghan side. Now, this project is near its completion as work on 94% has already been completed, and it is estimated that by April 2022, it would fully be in place. Now, this completion comes at a crucial time when Afghanistan is being governed by the Taliban, while this fencing began in 2017 when there was an entirely different government in the war-torn country. Now, some incidents of uprooting the fencing at the various locations from Afghanistan's side have been reported. Taliban spokesman Bilal Karimi has said that these incidents are being investigated. At the same time, Taliban Acting Information Minister Zabiullah Mujahid in a statement ruled out any sort of need of the fencing. However, Taliban Foreign Ministry spokesman Abdul Kahar Balkhi says the issues would be resolved through diplomatic means with Pakistan. On the other side, Pakistan has conveyed serious concerns regarding the incident to the interim Afghan government. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi has hinted that there were some complications. Pakistan Army's spokesman DGI-SPR Major General Babar Iftikhar has dubbed this fence as the fence of peace, adding that patrolling along this border was a challenging task. Before we delve deeper into various aspects of this fencing and the problems which are happening relating to this, I will take a look at a report that we have prepared. After that, we'll go into the discussion.
For the last 2 decades, the regions surrounding the Durand Line have been used by armed groups to launch attacks into Pakistan. Due to the porous nature of the border, it was a convenient hiding place for such groups, as well as illegal traders and traffickers. For this very reason, Pakistan started fencing the Pak-Afghan border along the Durand Line. After almost 3 years, the fence on the 2,640-kilometer land border between Afghanistan and Pakistan that passes through rugged mountains, densely forested valleys, and narrow rock passages is nearing completion. In a press conference, the Director General of Inter-Services Public Relations, General Babar Iftikhar, announced that work on the border fence was 94% complete and it will be finished within the announced time frame. He also emphasized the importance and role of this fence for Pakistan and the people living on both sides of the border. He called the border fence a fence of peace.
हम मुकम्मल तौर पर फोकस्ड हैं और वेस्टर्न बॉर्डर मैनेजमेंट रजीम के तहत जो काम जारी हैं वो मुअय्यना मुद्दत में इंशाल्लाह पाया तकमील को पहुँचेंगे। बॉर्डर मैनेजमेंट के तहत पाक अफ़गान बैनुल-अक़वामी सरहद पे बाड़ लगाने का काम तकरीबन 94% मुकम्मल हो चुका है और पाक ईरान बॉर्डर पर 71% से ज़ायद बाड़ लगाने का काम मुकम्मल किया जा चुका है। पाक अफ़गान बैनुल-अक़वामी सरहद पर लगाई गई ये फेंस, ये दोनों अतराफ़ बसने वाले लोगों को सिक्योरिटी, आमदोरफ्त और तिजारत, इसको रेगुलेट करने के लिए इस वक्त की अशद ज़रूरत है। इसका मकसद लोगों को तकसीम करना नहीं बल्कि उन्हें महफूज बनाना है। बॉर्डर एरियाज़ के लोग बॉर्डर टर्मिनल्स और डेजिग्नेटेड क्रॉसिंग पॉइंट से तयशुदा तरीक़ाकार के मुताबिक रोज़ाना आ जा रहे हैं। इस तरीक़ाकार को वक्त के साथ मज़ीद मौसर बनाया जाएगा। इस बाढ़ के लगाने में हमारे शुहदा का खून शामिल है। यमन की बाढ़ है, ये मुकम्मल होगी और इंशाल्लाह कायम रहेगी।
You watched that report, and now straight away I'll jump into the discussion. And to take a deeper look into this matter today, I'm joined by Mr. Yasir Janjua, who is the Defense and Security Analyst, and Mr. Gohar Mehsood, who is the journalist. Both of you gentlemen, thank you for being at Perspective today. Mr. Janjua, I'll begin the discussion with you. So what makes this fencing so beneficial for Pakistan? As we have seen in the past that Pakistan was badly hit by terrorist activities over the last 2 decades, in particular when Pakistan became the front line ally in the war on terror.
Thank you, Jawad. This is a very, very critical issue for Pakistan's security. Not only last 2 decades, but actually you can go as far back as 4 decades when the Afghan invasion by Russia, and then you saw a lot of infiltration into Pakistan by Afghan immigrants, illegal immigrants, and mujahideen, and miscreants and terrorists. That has been happening. So for a very long time, Pakistan has been considering this to fence this. And this is an international border. However, whatever the Afghans might think, this is an international border that belongs to us. This was agreed. Now, interestingly, and for all those Afghans who might be listening, they need to know this, that the Afghanistan-Iran border, Afghanistan-China border, Afghanistan-Russia border, back in the 19th century and the 20th century, when they were negotiated, they were also negotiated by the British on the behalf of the Afghans. So this agreement in 1893 was done between the Afghan government and the British government in India at that time. And they accept all of the borders but this border, because they think, oh, because we've got families on both sides of the border. That does not mean we cannot control or secure our side of the border. It was very critical to our security and safety. However, because it is such a rugged terrain, it's not easy to fence. We've laid down a lot of lives in the process. It's not been easy for Pakistan Armed Forces to do this. No civilians could go and do it there, because it was not only the rugged terrain, it was not only the weather, it was the enemy fire. It was the fire from the other side that had taken lives, because they would not want us to do this. Most of the smuggling was happening through these routes, which we have closed now, which we have plugged. So that is why it was very critical for us to do this, and at any cost, and we have achieved this, 94%, and in the next few months we will be finished. But there are people on the other side of the border who do not like this, because they think, oh, you can't separate us like this. No, this is our country. We have all the rights. If India can fence the Punjab border, why can't we? And Indians are, I was a few days ago sitting in another program on the Indian TV channel, they were creating hue and cry. They have themselves fenced the border. This is an international border, undisputed. Afghans have never gone to any international forum to challenge this, because they know they don't have a case. So why do they object? I don't know why the Afghan, the interim foreign minister or anybody else would get up and say, we don't recognize this. If you think you don't recognize this, try and go somewhere.
Mr. Janjua, point is well taken. Now we are joined by Mr. Umar Ali Khan Shirazi, former ambassador, who is joining us on the phone line. Mr. Shirazi, thank you very much for joining Into Perspective. Very important points raised by Mr. Janjua. He says that similar to the Afghan border Pakistan has with Afghanistan, Afghanistan has its border with other neighboring countries, including Iran, Russia. So they are also internationally recognized borders. So there happens to be no problem with the Afghan authorities, whosoever happens to be in power. But when it comes to the Durand line, there happens to be the problem with the Afghan authorities over there. Is it justified for the Afghan authorities to say or take a pretext of this thing that Pakistan is trying to divide the people on both sides of the border?
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Whatever you have said is absolutely correct. And what our colleague was saying just a moment ago, well, this is not a reason to believe that as the Pathans are living on both sides of the border, so we don't recognize this border. If that is the criteria, then Uzbeks are living in Afghanistan as well as in Uzbekistan. Then why they have recognized that border? Similarly, Tajiks are living on both sides of the border. Why they have recognized that border? And why, how come that they don't recognize this border? It is all, I think, a very immature kind of thinking that they are doing. But whatever is, I would like to say that we have to settle this matter at the high level with the Taliban leadership, so that, there are lots of spoilers among the ranks of the Taliban And especially on this border, India has worked a lot. They have really done a lot of propaganda against Pakistan and this Durand line. So we have to do it very tactfully and absolutely firmly with the Afghan authorities that this is an international border and it should go like that. Just on the whims of a person that there are Pathans living on both sides of the border, we don't recognize this border. I think it is not very wise statement that they are making. So we have to be very firm, very polite, and very determined with the Afghan leadership on this issue.
Mr. Shehzai, a point well taken. I'll come back to this point later in the discussion. I'll take this particular point that you have just raised, that there are certain peace spoilers when it comes to Afghanistan. And Pakistan consistently has been raising this issue with the previous Afghan authorities as well. And now with the Taliban regime that is in place over there. And not only this, but at all the international fora. Let me take this point to Mr. Masood. Mr. Masood, what do you think now? Pakistan, since a long time had been raising this issue of peace spoilers over there in Afghanistan, but this time around Pakistan has helped and played a key role in bringing reconciliation and bringing the Taliban and the United States on the negotiating table and getting the Doha peace deal done. Now, when the Taliban have taken over, so incidents which are being reported of uprooting the fencing, does it bode well with the Afghan authorities if they don't bring in the culprits and expose them?
Well, thank you, Mr. Jawad. I would explain it in some different style. I would say see, in Afghanistan, when they took, the Taliban took the government, after that, the situations in Pakistan, especially on the Pak-Afghan border and the tribal areas, these situations were getting worse, and the security situations, every week we are facing attacks on the security forces. In Afghanistan, the Taliban are not, the whole Taliban are not on one page. There are different groups inside the Taliban. Some Taliban, they might have sympathies or, a soft corner for Pakistan, Pakistani values, Pakistani cultures and different aspects. Similarly, there are some Taliban inside the Afghan Taliban that they are not liking as much Pakistan as the other groups do. So many times, as I belong to the tribal areas, and I have seen such incident frequently in the last some weeks and months. Those groups of the Taliban, they are not interact or well connected or in favor of Pakistan. They are creating such issues. One thing that Pakistan have done a very good job for Afghan Taliban or Afghanistan or the peace process in Afghanistan, but I would say that there is a big issue of rifts between among the Afghan Taliban. This thing brings all this issue. Other than that, those Taliban groups that were that are well-wisher are having a soft corner for Pakistan or Pakistani values, culture, languages. They are they are good, but on the other side, those who are not in a good connection with the Pakistan government authorities, they are creating this situation. Who are supporting them? This is another topic. Definitely, as Pakistan as a state have their own interest, and on the other side, different countries like India, America, and different other neighbors, They are having their own interests.
Mr. Masood, I'll beg your pardon for the interjection. It's a very interesting thing that you have just mentioned. There might be different groups within the Taliban ranks who might not be on the same page when it comes to the Pakistan's interests. So that makes it even more interesting when we talk about the Doha peace deal. So Doha peace deal was done on behalf of the entire Taliban rank. Now, when it comes to dealing with the US, the Taliban happen to be on one page, and when it comes to dealing with Pakistan, why there happens to be a difference within those ranks?
Mr. Jawad, it is like very simple. See, in Afghanistan, the Taliban are facing too much criticism or points from the social sectors or the civil society. Someone are saying that they don't have the right to be in the government, and this was not the way that they come to the government for the purpose. They are getting the sympathies of the people. No doubt, it might be not good for some of the groups, but some are thinking if we are doing this, we can get the sympathies of the people. And no doubt, this is again, I would say, a very important topic inside Afghanistan and some border areas here in Pakistan side. The people are thinking that this shouldn't happen. There shouldn't be any border because we are like from the same tribes.
So Mr. Masood, don't you think people have that realization that over the last 4 decades, due to insurgency and the terrorist activities, people not only in Pakistan, that we lost over 80,000 precious lives in the war on terror, and over $1 billion lost to the national exchequer, many other losses as well. Is there not a realization among the people who are living along this Durand line region that once there is a regulation and there happens to be proper fencing, there would be proper regulation of the people, and the rogue elements could be spotted easily? So that could render an ease in the life of the Afghan people themselves as well, because they also suffered much over the last 4 decades.
Yeah, exactly, Mr. Jawad. This is what we can think and we can feel, but those who are sitting on the ground, those who doesn't have access to much multimedia stuff and all these developments, they are not having a good media communication or mass media things that they can get information about different updates, facilities, development. So the people who are sitting on the ground, like on the border, they have their own perspective. For that purpose, I would say, like from the Pakistani side, it is much important to make awareness in the people who are living on the border side, that how much this fencing is important, and not just to make this kind of functions, programs, or some awareness, but the Pakistani authorities need to make this ensure to make some steps for the people who are living on the border, that yes, this fencing is important because we have done this for you people, we have done this, we have done this. Till that time, we can just talk here in the big cities, but what we need to be done on the ground is that we can realize to the local people that, hey, this is the benefit of the fencing. You can have this kind of business, this facility, this development, and this. Other than that,
Mr. Masood, this is a very important point. Mr. Janjua, what do you have to say about this? That when it comes to the role of Pakistani authorities over the years, that what Pakistan has been doing for bringing peace in Afghanistan, and more recently we have seen Pakistan has hosted an extraordinary meeting of the OIC foreign ministers to urge the world community to take a look at the humanitarian and economic crisis that is unfolding over there. And not only this, Pakistan has also announced an assistance package. Pakistan has been at the forefront in making that deal happen as well. So why don't you think that realization exists within the Taliban ranks, as well as the people over there along this line?
Previously, there were governments in Afghanistan which were supposed to be hostile governments. This should have been a friendly government. But as Mr. Masood was also saying, people on the other side of the border, regardless of what their political orientation is or ethnic orientation is, they think this Durand line does not exist. We as the government, we as Pakistanis, have to take a very strong stance this time. We can't expect a friendly government which we are supposed, nobody else wants to admit them except them, and we are the only ones probably who are give them a breathing space. So we have to take we will go, as the foreign minister has also said, we will resolve it diplomatically, but in no weak terms. We will tell them very clearly, do not mess with it, because they try to give us a message, do not construct this fence. We have to go and tell them, and we should tell them, look, this is not negotiable. You better, as he was saying, the problem there is that the entire Afghan nation is not on one page. The Taliban themselves are not one group. And I am sure these two incidents that happened of trying to disrupt the fencing work in Afghanistan, on the Afghanistan side, they were doing it locally. This cannot be their government policy. This cannot be their state policy. They were doing it by themselves to appease the local population, to get the local population on their side. The government policy cannot be this. As you have seen, the Afghan Foreign Ministry spokesman said, we're going to resolve it diplomatically. This is the way to do it. And they will understand. Look, we are the only country.
That's very interesting to know that there are certain groups over there along this line who are trying to appease the local population. That is exactly what DGI SPR also in a couple of days back press release did.
Yes.
He had to say that it could be some localized event that had happened over there or incident over there. At this point, I have to take to Mr. Sherzai. Mr. Sherzai, do you agree with this point that some people in the Taliban rank might be doing such type of acts just to appease the local population over there? Mr. Sherzai, can you hear me? Okay, Mr. Jinju, would you elaborate it in detail? So does that statement by DGI SPR resonate with what the premise that you have just built?
100%. DGI SPR is a very important person in the government hierarchy. He represents the Pakistan Armed Forces. And he does not come out and give a statement like that, which has not been approved by the foreign ministry. Although he's talking to local audience, but he's being heard the world over. So he gives a very responsible statement. And this is a fact. The Taliban are operating in packets. You have seen in the past as well, they've been operating in packets. As a matter of fact, soon after the 15th of August, on one occasion, the Taliban actually closed the Chaman border. They closed the gate because they said, no, we can't allow you to ask us to have passports to cross over into Pakistan. Afghanis will cross over into Pakistan without passports. So there was a row that erupted, and then eventually we prevailed. We said, no. Either you have to have some form of documentation, otherwise, like previously that people just walked over to the border, it's not going to happen. So what I'm trying to say here is, these Taliban who have done it, this is simply not, we can't just start pointing our guns towards the entire Afghan nation because of this. Yes, this is something which we didn't like, and we've raised it in no uncertain terms with the Afghan government, and this is going to be resolved. This has been happening in the past as well. This is a regime which is not very hostile, or, well, considered a friendly regime technically, but we have 94% of work, or more than 90% of work has been finished in the times of the hostile regimes. Hamid Karzai or Ashraf Ghani were no friends to Pakistan, and we all know it. They've been directly opposing this fence, yet we've constructed it, and we will do it. Nothing's going to stop us.
Mr. Sherzai is with me back online. Mr. Sherzai, a very important point being discussed. Mr. Masood and Mr. Jinju are both of the view that there might be differences within the Taliban ranks as well. But it makes it more interesting. The same question I'd like to ask to you as well. When it comes to dealing with the United States and making the Doha peace deal happen, it was done on the behalf of the entire Taliban ranks. So when it comes to dealing with Pakistani authorities, why there happens to be a difference of opinion within the Taliban ranks?
Well, frankly speaking, I don't agree with this feeling that there is a difference among the Taliban. The problem is that, as you rightly said, that both Ashraf Ghani and Karzai, they were in power for the last more than 20 years. And, all the Afghan media, propaganda, and all their media is still controlled by the Indians. So there has been a very vicious propaganda against Pakistan for the last more than 20 years. You know, they have poisoned the minds of the people living on the border. And of course, everywhere there are some spoilers. So we have to take cognizance of this, that Taliban have come just recently. It will take them quite some time to soften their mind, and on our part, we should try to infiltrate more and more in their media and all those facilities which are still being provided to the Afghan media by the Indians. We should try to counter that, so that the poison which has been spread in the minds of lots of Afghans, so that people minds are changed. Unless we do little bit of homework on this issue, frankly speaking, I have been saying it, that media plays an important role, and for the last 20 years, media, the Afghan media was totally controlled by the Indians. And even now, most of their media channels, they are being controlled from Dubai, where, there are Indians who are spoiling, rather poisoning the minds of the people. So we should not assume that there are differences. I frankly speaking, I don't agree with that kind of idea. If there had been a differences, as you rightly said, there would have been a differences on the Doha Agreement or the other international borders. But, there are spoilers. When it comes to Pakistan, there are lots of people, even the United States and, the entire Europe, they don't like, Pakistan to remain peaceful with Taliban. So they are trying to use whatever they can to spoil the relations between Taliban and the Pakistan government.
So, Mr. Sherzai, your points are well taken. I'll go point by point. I'll just like to bring in some of the statements which have been made by the various Taliban leaders. So there happens to be a lot of difference among those statements as well that might tell us that there could be a difference of opinion when it comes to dealing with the Pakistani authorities within the Taliban rank. For example, the Defense Ministry spokesman, Mr. Inayatullah Khwarizmi, has said, and he has actually termed this fencing illegal. When we talk about acting information minister Zabiullah Mujahid, he also said that there is no need of doing such type of fencing because this issue is not resolved. On the other hand, we see that Bilal Karimi has said there is some investigation regarding this one going on, and there would be some negotiations with the Pakistani authorities in order to deal with this matter. So likewise, there is another different opinion that is coming from a Foreign Ministry spokesperson, Abdul Kahar Balkhi, who says such incidents are under investigation. So there clearly happens to be a difference of statements.
Well, I agree. There could be, if we look into our government, or there are not different statements by the same ruling party. Fawad Chaudhry is saying something, and the other ministers are saying something else, and the Prime Minister is saying something else. There are always differences of opinion, but I'm sure if we deal with this matter at a high level, and the people who know how to negotiate with the Taliban, I think this problem can be resolved very amicably.
Okay, Mr. Janjua, what do you have to say about this? That he didn't, Mr. Sherzai doesn't agree the premise that you have just built.
Well, it's his point of view. He's entitled to it. What I'm trying to say, and what I said, and I'm going to reiterate again, is just because the Afghans were all, or the Taliban were all on one page and that at the Doha Agreement time does not mean, we know it. There have been leadership struggles between the Taliban. We know there are some Taliban who were loyal to one faction and the other faction. So that stays there. More importantly, even if we say there are no groups, Taliban operate in packets and small groups within their regions. They're like a militia. They have not yet become a political party where the orders and instructions are passed and disseminated and followed. So they are still very, very unorganized as a political party, if you want to call them, because now they are running the country. So you might want to say they are a political entity. However, because of that fact, because they are operating in packets, there is lack of cohesion and leadership and unity of command and instructions. And this is precisely what has happened. However, somebody at the helm of affairs in the foreign ministry has to take charge of this. They have to rein them in. If they can take over the entire country, why can't they control a faction within their own group? As I said, and I continue to hold on to my opinion, and the DGISPR has said it, these are those small groups, those who are trying to appease the local population. Why? Because the local population, a lot of their livelihood depended on the smuggling that was happening across the border. Now that has closed. Their source of livelihood has been reduced or completely decimated because of the fence. So those people are not very happy. They were doing a lot of smuggling, drug trafficking and smuggling of contraband, and so many other things was happening. And then there were families across the border. So obviously we understand that they are not happy. However, what we need to educate people is that despite the fencing, I think we have created 11 or 16 openings across the fence, which are genuine, regulated, official openings. The Afghans are more than happy to come and use these openings and come into Pakistan.
So don't
and
you
go.
think that the Afghans actually feel and realize the efficacy of this fencing, and particularly those 16 formal crossing points, the dividends in the longer run of the economic activity happening across the border rather than smuggling?
Those official points, crossing points, already they have become very busy, because Pakistan has now opened avenues for them to come through the legal channels. And obviously when you come through the legal channels, there will be customs there. Previously there used to be only two or three main crossing points, you know. So one was in Padachanar, there was in Torkham, and then there was in Chaman. So the question is, once this happens, this is good for Pakistan as well, because then there will be official trade instead of the unofficial trade. And more importantly, we'll be able to regulate who comes into the country. We will know who's coming into the country. In this rugged land, people were crossing and we did not know. Now the important thing is why there is resistance. I'm sure Mr. Masood can throw light because he comes from the area. You know, the Pathans from that area, the area that they come from, they've never lived their life behind those barricades and behind those fences, you know. For centuries and centuries, they have been free people. However, now this is our country. We have to control it. We have to secure it. We have had more trouble. And why did the Indians build those consulates there? Because they could penetrate in and out of those places, you know. Now we've plugged that. This is why...
So, Mr. Masood, this is a very interesting point. Now, when it comes to understanding on the part of the Afghan people, when we talk about regulating trade across the border between Pakistan and Afghanistan, so don't they have the realization in the longer term it would be of more benefit to the general population over there rather than going for short-term ends like smuggling?
Well, Mr. Jawad, I would again say that here we are looking at something else, and the local people, they are looking at something else. As journal, the Afghan masses are people, yes, there are some people, not some, but I would say a good number of Afghans that they are looking for the trade, development, and like a good neighbors communication. But the thing is, after the Afghan government, the Taliban came into the government in Afghanistan, many such people who are like wishing the modernization and development and different things, these people are facing very difficulties because they were in Ghani government. So here again, I would say like inside Afghanistan, is Mr. Ambassador said that I'm not agree with this point that there are not different groups. I would say maybe he has its own perspective, but some Afghan Taliban groups like Mullah Yaqub group, he is very anti-Pakistan, and on the other side Haqqani network, he is he has having soft corner for Pakistan. So again, if the both are confronting each other inside Afghanistan, the point came that Mullah Yaqub group will try to disturb relation and communication with Pakistan because of Haqqani network, and the Haqqani network will try to make good relation, good contacts, communication with the Pakistan. In general, the Afghan people, yes, they don't have such opportunities, such things that they can they can believe on the points that yes, this is very good. We would have a good business, we would have a good relation and peace and stability, development on the border side. But for all these things, it is very important that the Pakistan develop business opportunities, communication, media on in the border, on Pakistan-Afghan border, because till that time we didn't, if we are not bringing media into the tribal areas, if we are not bringing opportunities to the tribal people, they don't have such things to make themselves develop, to
That
make
is
themselves
exactly what
progressive.
Pakistani authorities over the number of years have been saying, and most recently the extraordinary meeting of the OIC foreign ministers was held in Islamabad. Pakistani authorities urged the world community to take a look into the matters of Afghanistan, the economic and humanitarian crisis. That is what Pakistan is already doing. And not only this, in the past, over 3 million Afghan refugees were given safe haven over here, and they were living their life at their own, and they were enjoying everything whatever Pakistan had to offer them. So whenever Pakistan comes with a strategy in order to just secure the border, so why does that happen not to be in the understanding of those people over there, especially along this border?
Mr. Jawad, I would say again, see, we are talking about Pakistan-Afghanistan border and the border area. When we are not facilitating the people on inside Pakistan on the tribal border, we are not providing them what they are needed, what they need, what they have their rights. Since last
Pakistan has provided over the number of years much
I'm-
to the people.
So
along
kind of
this
development
line.
that is now
Just
taking-
again,
just-
I would beg your pardon to interject over here. We have seen recently that those areas have been merged into the province as well. So that is that speaks volumes of the efforts Pakistan is trying to do for the people of that region.
again, I would try to explain it. If the Pakistan want to make peace on Pak-Afghan border and the Pakistani people on the border to be a very good Pakistani, as we were talking about the Indian consulate on the border and all these things, we need to do more and more for the tribal people. I belong from South Waziristan. During the
But the question is-
Do I have to
Sir,
add
sir,
something?
just-
to it?
just one.
if you can answer, if I ask
There
you.
is a lot
There
of
has not been
reconstruction.
any resistance to this fence from inside Pakistani border.
No. I'm
There
not.
is a
I'm
lot
not
of-
talking-
Whatever is happening is from the other side.
Mr. Masood, when we talk about Pakistan doing something for the people on the Pakistani side of the border, there are many projects of rehabilitation and reconstruction which are underway over there.
I'm just giving you a very simple example. My home in Tehsil Ladakh, South Waziristan, was demolished because of the military operation against the terrorism and all these things.
That was exactly that happened. That's the point, because terrorism was being infiltrated from the Afghan soil to the Pakistan side. Let me take this point to Mr. Sherzai. Mr. Masood says that Pakistani authorities need to do more. Of course, there is always room of doing more for the development and the progress of a certain region, and especially when a certain region has been hit hard by terrorism over the last many decades. But that is exactly the point which Pakistani authorities want to make it clear, that this is the fencing which is to be done so that terrorism is not, Pakistan doesn't have to feel that heat of the fallout of terrorist activity from the Afghan soil, and that's why it is very much necessary.
I would reiterate what I said earlier, that we have to tackle this issue very tactfully, very firmly with the Afghan authorities, and at the same time not nourish these ideas that there are this group is against Pakistan, and we want to have good relations with the entire Taliban regime. So we have to deal with this issue very tactfully and very firmly. And at the same time, we should not try to scandalize these differences between the different Taliban groups, because it will go against Pakistan's interest. India is waiting, just to infiltrate into the ranks of the Taliban and then create again those problems which Pakistan was facing for the last 20 years. So my humble advice is that we should try to avoid scandalize this issue. Let the government handle this issue at a highest level. And at the same time, as my colleague, the tribesman Masood, I am also a tribesman. I am Aurakzai from Kurum. We also border Afghanistan. Frankly speaking, since the merger of the tribal areas into the province, we have not got any development funds. We have become much more poorer, and I would not be surprised even if some people, even from this side of the border, would be against that fencing, because you have stopped their illegal trade, agreed, but at the same time you should provide them alternate sources of income, so that there should be good schools, colleges, like we have everywhere in other parts of Pakistan. But if you go to the tribal area, frankly speaking, the conditions in the tribal areas are totally different. They are still living beyond the poverty line. So we have to sort out all these matters in tandem, and at the same time not create much fuss on the TV channels
and rehabilitation projects.
I absolutely beg to disagree with them. With due respect to the ambassador, forget about anything else. The merger, this has just taken place. Pakistan Army alone has built roads, schools,
exactly,
markets and commercial
there
areas.
A lot of cricket matches going on.
Pakistan Army alone has done a lot there, and that is visible.
Region.
I can't sit here and give you all the details, but everybody knows that Pakistan Army has done a lot of development work. Now, as far as he's saying that there are some people who are opposed on this side, we have not seen any resistance. If there is any resistance inside their houses, well, it could be because, yes, the fence has been made, but at the same time, we've opened up genuine channels for crossing the Afghan border. They can cross from there. Now, this is not the debate here that just because the merged districts of FATA have not been developed, so the fencing cannot take place.
It takes a lot of
fencing
time.
is a necessity.
A certain area that has been hit hard by insurgency and terrorism, it takes years to rebuild and reconstruct it, and that is the effort that Pakistan Army.
And that is why, because of the efforts of Pakistan Army, now people can go back to the area.
Last point, unfortunately, we are short of time. So, what are the options? Does Pakistan authorities do they have in order to impress upon the Taliban in
very
particular?
Strong diplomatic initiative. The ambassador is absolutely right. We must take it very firmly with the Afghan government that this is not going to be taken and tolerated under no circumstances. And if it all happens next time, even if it has to be resorted to a forceful reply by the armed forces, that should be done.
Could that be the option, Mr. Masood? What options Pakistani authorities do have in order to impress upon the Taliban, because they promised, as per the Doha peace deal, that the Afghan soil would not be used for any insurgency or terrorist activities. Now, such incidents are happening which are directly provoking the Pakistani authorities. So is there any option of taking an iron hand to stop this?
No, I don't think so that the Pakistani authorities should go for something very harsh or hard. I would suggest that diplomacy is the best option again and again. With the diplomacy to the Afghan Taliban, what I was saying about the tribal areas or tribal people doesn't mean to criticize something or someone, but if we are sincere, we have to have develop and promote the local people to make them sure that yes, you people are our priorities, and the Taliban or the Afghan side, they are not giving you what you actually need or want. This
So,
I
Mr.
would-
Sherzai, do you agree with this point? There is only one path in order to impress upon the Taliban, and that is through diplomacy and nothing other than that.
Absolutely. You know, diplomacy is the first line of defense. We have to first exhaust this first line, and at the same time, I would advise that, you know, the tribal people are very clever people, very intelligent people, and if a grand jirga of the tribal people is arranged and sent to Afghanistan to discuss these issues with the Taliban, I think it will...
Mr. Sherzai, your point is well taken. You are of the view that diplomacy is the first line of defense, and it is through diplomatic means. All of the participants are of the same view. It is through diplomatic means that Pakistani authorities should make it clear upon the interim Afghan government led by the Taliban over there that the fencing will be completed as planned, and such type of incidents should be stopped, and the Taliban should take the responsibility. Mr. Yasir Janjua, Defense and Security Analyst, thank you for joining at Perspective. Mr. Omar Khan Ali Sherzai, former ambassador, joining us on phone line, and Mr. Gohar Mahsood, journalist, thank you very much for your time at Perspective as well. That brings us to the end of today's discussion. Until the next episode, keep watching PTV World.